Hello and welcome to Tarot with Tanya. This is 7 cards for 7 days. Thank you for being here. Really appreciate that. Welcome if you are new, and welcome back if you've been here before. We are looking at the week of Monday, February 12th to Sunday the 18th, and we're beginning our week with the moon in Pisces, and by that Sunday the 18th, it'll be in Gemini for most of the day, and then that evening, early that evening, it will move to Cancer, at least here in the States. Then we have quite a few other little planetary events during the week. On Monday, Mars enters Aquarius. That's likely to bring in a kind of innovative energy. We like being unique. We might be wanting to enjoy freedom. I mean, Mars is all about the action, and Aquarius is about the thinking and the humanitarian energies. So could be a lot of hyped up energy in that regard. On Tuesday, we have Venus now being sextile to Neptune, and that is a good aspect, one that we tend to find easier. And on the same day, we have Mars conjunct Pluto. So where does that leave us? On the first part, the Venus sextiling Neptune, we might feel more sensitive to beauty that day, very compassionate, aware of the higher realms. I mean, Venus is about the love and the beauty and the art and so forth, and Neptune relates to that very well as being part of those higher realms, very compassionate and artistic. Now, with the Mars conjunct Pluto part, we might also have rebellion against oppression, a need to assert ourselves, and a need to be productive. Friday, looking at Venus again, she enters Aquarius, which will change, different flavor with each sign. And then we also have Mercury square Uranus. So we might have some very enhanced humanitarian instincts. That's about the Venus going into Aquarius. We might have an expanded social life. Aquarius is the friend to everybody. And there could be unusual people. That's also that Aquarius energy. And, you know, in the Mercury square Uranus, that's where we could have our plans disrupted. Uranus does rule Aquarius, but it's in Taurus right now. But it is that sudden erratic energy potentially as one of its aspects. Perceptions might be changed, and very unusual people, eccentric people might show up. Saturday, Venus again is now conjunct Pluto. So what we're seeing is all of these planets moving into Aquarius. I think I might have mentioned that last week, that we are going to be in a place, I mean, of course, Pluto's there and the sun is there, and Pluto will be the one that moves very slowly. With these other faster, you know, planets, Mercury, Venus, and Mars, what we call the personal planets, are now, you know, either have entered or, you know, getting ready to enter Aquarius as well. So when that Venus is conjunct Pluto, so that means they're right by each other, it is good to maintain peace in a committed relationship. Venus being the relationship part, Pluto being potentially very transformative, very powerful, so, you know, very committed as well. So that's where that kind of advice comes in, maintaining peace in a committed relationship. You know, and being gracious, perhaps compromising, but doing so without sacrificing one's own integrity. And, you know, on the really positive side, a good connection can become much deeper with that kind of aspect as well. And then our last thing is on Sunday, we're going to have the sun entering Pisces. Hard to believe we're there already, but here we are. So we will have a very compassionate, dreamy, psychic, idealistic kind of energy coming up from that when that sun, our consciousness, moves into Pisces, ruled by Neptune. Neptune is there. Won't be all that much longer, I think another year or two. It's also a very slow-moving, far-out planet, so it takes time. But anyway, the sun will be there as it is once a year, and enhancing our creative, our psychic abilities. All right, so I'm using the Golden Dawn deck for this week, and remember, with all of this, the astrology included, take what resonates for you and leave the rest behind. It's a general reading for the collective. So some unusual things about this week. One, a lot of people cards are royal cards, and we begin the week with one and we end the week with his partner. So it starts with the King of Swords. There he is in his yellow mental energy and has the sword, which of course is the suit we're talking about. And that is mental, it is thoughts, it's communication, it's verbal expression, all kinds of mental energy. And the king of that can be very skilled with it, very powerful with words, thoughts, and also sharp. So you just want to watch out. So that, whenever we have the people cards, it can always represent aspects of ourselves, or it can represent other people in our lives. So that was our Monday. On Tuesday, the 13th, we get the one and, no, that's not right. I started to say one and only major, but there are actually two for the week. And I'm sorry, these cards kind of fade out, I'm seeing now when they get too close. But anyway, here we have this Hierophant, number 5 in the majors. The spiritual teacher can signify things like law, justice, higher learning, religions, spirituality, depending on what resonates for you in life, where you find those kinds of energies. And it is associated, you see the bull, he's sort of resting on it, is associated with Taurus. And can be a good day to look at how we are relating to our inner wisdom, our teacher, perhaps our own spirituality, or are we butting heads against institutional kinds of energies of power, especially higher learning and spiritual ones. So, just be on the lookout for that on Tuesday. Now, Wednesday, we do a sort of interesting reset, and this is that second major, and this one is the Fool. Often with the Fool, you will have a sort of child or young person, frequently male. It's the, in part, idea of like Humpty Dumpty, everything is contained, and here the child is almost to be seen as in the womb of this wolf-like creature who's wearing this spiky collar, which I assume is sort of a symbolism for life. But yet, here's the protected divine child inside of this. So very good to, like I said, to do a reset, let some things go, try to see life as, a new journey beginning. And, the week before we had that new moon in Aquarius, which is very good reset for humanity in general, all things humanitarian. And, as the sun moves into Pisces, toward the end of this, or at the end of this week, I can see how that also helps us let go of some stuff, do a kind of reset there as well. By Thursday, we're getting into a series of cups, and it's another royal card or person card, and this time the Princess of Cups. So this is the watery daughter, the very sweet, perhaps artistic daughter kind of energy, feminine. It's a double feminine because we consider water to be a feminine element. So very sweet, very soft, hopefully it's on the light side, that there is no dark side to this, which could be overly passive, not taking responsibility for yourself, indulging too much in feelings, things like that. But on the light side, it's just lovely and sweet. So again, it could be a person, could be within your own self, kind of an archetypal energy coming up. Our second cup this week happens for our Friday, and that is the 10 of Cups. And this is just such a nice card. I mean, I think visually it's very pretty. I don't know how well you can see it, but there's a hand. Let's see if I can get around that a little bit. There we go. There's a hand in the top that is initiating this flowing of water, pouring it down through the cups, and then one at the bottom that is holding everything up. And this sometimes is called happiness. It can be great sharing of love with another person, loving yourself, just being in general very loving and kind, and just really positive, nice emotions to start the weekend. We continue with another royal card and another cup, and this time it is the Queen. So we have two queens this week. We'll get to that last one in a moment. But again, water, psychic, creative, emotional. You can see she, just like the Princess of Cups, I didn't mention it, but they're literally standing in water or perhaps on water. With the princess, we don't get a throne, but here, of course, our queen has a throne. Holds a very large chalice, has water creatures around her as part of that symbolism. So the queens are, also about mastery. They're a very high level of, in this case, emotional or psychic ability, intuitive, creative, able to communicate emotionally very well, to understand what's going on in those really subtle levels. Now, on the dark side, it can be really manipulative emotionally. The overbearing emotional person, or again, somebody who maybe sinks too deeply into his or her own feelings, their own feelings, and kind of loses track of things. But so again, inside the self or an influence on the outside, and it can be a very lovely energy. Then our last card and our second queen for this week, and this is where we have the week bookended with the King of Swords on Monday, and then by the following Sunday, the Queen of Swords. She's a little bit take no prisoners, like he can be to her male counterpart. And frequently you will see a mask associated. I mean, it almost looks like she did a little scalping and beheading kind of thing there. But it's to represent taking off the mask. In other words, no BS could be one way of saying it, telling the truth. I mean, the thing with the swords is you always want to watch that the tongue isn't too sharp. That the message, it might be very truthful and need to be delivered, but maybe watch, how it's delivered, see if there can be some softening. But the wonderful thing is, of course, that there is just no hiding to, that it is direct and it is honest communication. And I know it's hard to see, but there's a little head which represents the divine child on top of her head. It's a sort of crown almost, or nested in her crown. And it's the idea that when we are truthful, we are coming from a very honest, childlike place where we haven't been corrupted. Again, just, watch the delivery, whether you're on the receiving end or the giving end of that. So we will finish the reading with an oracle card, and oh my goodness, I am forgetting the name of this one. I am sorry. I'll try to get that into the description box below. But the card that did come up with for us, and it's an animal deck, and it's the mouse, as you can see. Maybe hard to read, but it does say mouse on the bottom there in that little red box. So what does the mouse stand for? Well, focus and attention to detail, scrutiny, organization, having everything in its place. The flip side is that sometimes the forest is lost for the trees because we're getting caught up in those small details and and nitpicking and not seeing the big picture. So, mouse can remind you to keep in balance the small details that are right in front of you and the larger vision of what you aim to accomplish. And that kind of vacillation, I think, is really important, really helpful, going back. What am I working on now? Not overwhelming the self with so many visions of what the future will be, so many details to take care of, but what can I take care of right now? And then where am I actually really trying to head with this? So spiral in and spiral out again and again. Big picture, small picture, big picture, small picture. So break down large tasks into smaller chunks and go step by step. Call on mouse to help you focus in with a keen eye and to get things done. So I hope that helps everyone, beloveds. I'm wishing you the best possible week. Please consider liking, sharing, and subscribing, and reaching out if you are in need of a personal reading yourself. I will see you next week.